Welcome back to Darnley Cyber Café. If you've been listening to the last few episodes where I talked about AI, acceleration, and where all of this seems to be heading, you might have noticed something. Not fear, not excitement, but a kind of fullness. That's what I felt after recording those conversations. Not overwhelmed exactly, just the awareness that something had shifted. Because when you spend time talking about the future, especially one driven by automation, artificial intelligence, and systems that move faster than we can reasonably track, you start to feel the weight of it. Not in a dramatic way, but more of a quiet one. And that's what I want to talk about in today's reflective episode. So let's change the tone this time to speak to not the future itself, but the response to it and where we're headed. After those AI episodes, I didn't feel the urge to learn more tools. I didn't feel excited to optimize anything. What I felt was the opposite. I wanted less. Less noise, less input, less constant updating. And I realized I wasn't alone in that feeling. We've talked before about how fast things are moving. AI didn't arrive with a single announcement. It didn't knock on the door and wait for permission. It just kept showing up. In search results, in writing tools, in customer service, in creative work, and in decision making. Week after week, month after month, year after year, quietly embedding itself into everyday life. The future didn't arrive with pomp and circumstance, it arrived continuously. And when that happens, there is no moment to catch your breath. There's just another update, another capability, another prompt asking you to engage. At first, that feels impressive, then useful, then normal, and then eventually tiring. That's the, I like to call, hangover no one talks about. Not from excess technology, but from excess attention. Now, in complete honesty, nothing is technically wrong. The tools work, they are efficient, and they save time and money. But when everything becomes ambient, always on, always assisting, always nudging, you lose something subtle. You lose friction. And friction used to be how we felt present in this world. When effort disappears entirely, meaning tends to thin out with it. You don't notice it all at once. You just start feeling slightly detached from your own actions. It's like you're supervising life instead of participating in it. Or another term I like to coin, living in the twilight zone. Digital minimalism doesn't show up as a manifesto. It doesn't arrive as a rejection of technology. It shows up as a question. Do I really need this? Not everything, just this one thing. One app, one notification, one feed, one layer of noise. It's not about going backward. It's about narrowing the channel, reducing the noise. People aren't trying to smash the system. They're just trying to breathe inside it through all the suffocating news, options, and things. So understand, minimalism isn't anti-tech. It's anti-excess. It's not about living offline or in your off-grid cabin. It's about living deliberately. Fewer tools, but better chosen ones. Fewer feeds, but more meaningful input. Fewer notifications, but clearer focus. It's the difference between technology as an environment and technology as a tool. One surrounds you, the other serves you. Now, I hope you understand this response didn't come from nowhere. It came after constant acceleration. It came after automation moved from novelty to world default. It came after AI stopped being something you try and became something you're inside of. When thinking is outsourced and creativity is assisted, and when decisions are suggested before you ask, people don't lose control, they lose connection. And the instinctive response to that isn't rebellion, it's simplification. Convenience has done incredible things with AI, but it didn't solve purpose. When everything becomes easy, nothing feels earned. When answers arrive instantly, curiosity dulls. When creation is assisted too much, expression becomes vague. So people start pulling back, not dramatically, but instinctively. They're not rejecting AI, they are reclaiming agency. And this is the part where I find most interesting, and something I have been actively reflecting on. There's no movement for this. There's no slogans, no protests, no coordinated exit. Just those quiet decisions. Turning off notifications without announcing it, deleting apps without replacing them, choosing devices that do fewer things on purpose, and letting moments exist without documentation. Not because it's some crazy 90s trend, but because it feels better. The rebellion isn't loud, but that's the point. I use devices like an old BlackBerry, with bare bones systems and features to minimize the constant noise that are on all of our smart devices today. In earlier episodes, I talked about privacy as protection, but there's another side to it that I want to introduce: privacy as peace. Not in a hiding perspective, not paranoia, just fewer demands on your attention. Digital minimalism often leads people towards privacy, not ideologically, but emotionally. Because when fewer things are watching, tracking, prompting, and analyzing you, you feel more like yourself again. But I want to be clear, this isn't advice. I'm not telling you to just unplug, delete everything, or just step away entirely. That is not realistic, and it's not necessary. But this is an invitation to notice. Notice how you feel after scrolling. Notice how you feel after silence. Notice which tools give you clarity and which ones drain it. Awareness is the first form of control, especially in this day of age. Darnley Cyber Café has always been about slowing things down just enough to think clearly. Not rejecting the future, not fearing it, but meeting it with intention. If the future keeps speeding up, and believe me, it will, then maybe the most human response is not to keep pace. Maybe it's to slow our side of the conversation. We are not binary or quantum computers. We are human beings. Perhaps we should embrace this fact instead of fighting against it. That's the quiet internal shift. From acceleration to discernment, from more to enough. Thank you for spending this reflective time with me at Darnley Cyber Café. I'm your host, Darnley, and if this episode gave you something to reflect on, consider sharing it with someone who's been feeling that same quiet pull towards simplicity. And if you want to stay connected, follow the cafe so you're notified when a new episode drops. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and remember, in the world that keeps getting louder, attention is still yours to give.